Welcome back to another episode of the Wrinkly Brain Podcast. This is a SmoothBrainEDH affiliated podcast where we like to goof, gaff, and talk about the Commander format. I'm your host, Jason, joined today by my co-hosts, Ethan.
Hello.
And Cameron.
Howdy.
Alright, Wilds of Eldraine officially released this weekend, at least per the time of this recording. It's going to be out for like 2 weeks for you guys at this point. Lots of interesting and unique cards from this set. I'm pretty content, but...
Yeah, fun set. Love the flavor of Eldraine, always. It's a cool set.
There's no Oko, so we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
We are Oko. There's a pun there. I don't want to do the math on it, but there's
it's all
a pun
Oko
there.
now.
It's
all elk, all the time.
all elk. No, Eldraine is really cool. It's, as Ethan said, it's not the last one. We don't have to worry about Oko ruining our legacy. We're an EDH podcast.
So, before we jump into our actual set review, we're going to try out a new format this style. Normally what we would do is like 3 commanders from each of us plus some cards. So we have this nice balanced conversation of like each of us have 5 or 7 cards to talk about. But I was watching PlaytoWin's podcast and I really like their structure. Like it's just a list. They threw it on a wall and you have to justify your decisions. Stand up for yourself.
Yes, I recently listened or watched to it, and their energy is great. They all it's very frantic, and I don't know why I like that.
I've had a life, so I haven't watched it yet, but I'll take your guys' word for it.
Is that a shot at us? I was driving.
You keep curing cancer, but you're driving and listening to a podcast.
Okay, Mom.
God, people
also, what does it say about us recording
cringe.
the podcast right now? Yeah. No, so like true fashion, we're gonna steal their format, right? Completely.
Absolutely.
No shade. Yeah, no.
At least we're
changes
just trying it out, trying it on our own style. But if you haven't listened to their podcast before, I highly recommend it. Yeah, they're PlaytoWin's one of the big CEDH channels, so it may not be for everyone who listens to our content, may not be interested in PlaytoWin's, but their energy is fantastic. You know, links to their channel and the Wilds of Eldraine set review for them down below. And we're not just going to rehash their stuff. So
yeah, as much as it's like one of our Cameron and I's favorite channels for YouTube EDH content, we don't do completely steal them.
Yeah. And also, before we start, this video should be coming out on September 20th, and that means we are in Vegas for MagicCon Las Vegas.
We're here right now in Vegas, right now.
Right now. Which is not true, but...
But it is.
So, if you are at MagicCon Las Vegas, come find us. 7 of us are going to be there in Vegas, jamming games, and just making content all weekend. These bozos haven't gotten the experience of meeting fans at MagicCons yet, so please, come, let them experience the joy of meeting fun people.
I am looking very forward to meeting so many people that share the same love for the game we do.
I'm terrified. You're going to make me cry if you come approach me, obviously.
Small child does not know what to do.
No. But, we're super pumped. Can't wait.
We all have to be wearing our Smooth Brain shirts, so if we get lost, we can find each other.
So
exactly.
I didn't get one because the communication on that didn't happen. So, okay. Bonk me all you want.
Bonk.
I'll have my playmat. Find me.
Bonk.
All right. We ready?
Let's go.
Sure.
All right. Let's start out strong with one of the most boring but best commander cards in this set, Stroke of Midnight. Stroke of Midnight is a 3-mana instant for 2 and a white that destroys target non-land permanent, gives that permanent's controller a 1/1 human, and is almost strictly better than Generous Gift. This can't hit lands, but blowing up lands for 3 mana is rarely worth it, so, you know, this comes up a little bit more in like mid-power decks where you might need to worry about Cabal Coffers more. It's generally not worth playing at higher power levels, so giving them that 1/1 as opposed to a 3/3 so that you can actually attack through them is so much better.
Yeah, my thing is I don't know how you say almost strictly better than Generous Gift. I still think being able to hit lands is very relevant, especially in the mid-high power where we play. Like we still see Gaia's Cradles, Cabal Coffers, Urza Sagas, things that need to get destroyed. And like I don't know where the math lies between having a 1/1 and a 3/3. But yeah, this card's good. I don't know how much if I'll play it over Generous Gift, but very good card.
I have 2 things to say. First, I'll stroke your midnight. Second,
excuse me. Go on.
Excuse me.
Second, ¿por qué no los dos? Why not run both? Then the answer is mana value there. They're both 3, 2 and a white. So there's a little bit harder on the curve. If you're playing a little slower, I see like mid power potentially wanting to run both because it's just flexible removal, and flexibility is very good. But you know, I just like saying "Por qué no los dos." I like the little Taco Shell commercial that I remember.
And I will give you that in specifically blue white, I might play both of them. But
I can see that.
In any other color combination, I don't have a need to.
Including
green,
Celestia?
If you're green-white, then you could drop Beast Within for this, and then play Generous Gift Beast Within.
So that's the important thing, is you got to keep in mind, whenever you play a green deck, especially in casual, green surpasses your color contribution to anything else. So I'm not going to play Generous Gift, I'm just going to play Beast Within because it's the green option, which is easier for me to cast.
That's fair. Yeah, green's not really like a splash color. If you're in green, you're doing green stuff.
Yeah. At least in casual Commander. Once you get to the CH levels where green is considered the worst color, green stops being your primary thing. But the decks that are green often are very heavy in green, so green demands a lot of resources because the support it gives is very good.
Yep.
Other note against it, it doesn't have a very, very pretty version like we got in Commander Masters for Generous Gift. So currently, I'm not making that change personally because I borderless foil Generous Gift.
That is very reasonable.
Also, elephant. You make an elephant, all right?
Yeah, it's good
Come
stuff.
on.
All right. Cameron, go.
All right, ready. Agatha the Vile Cauldron. For a red and a green, for a legendary human warlock, that's a 1/1. Activated abilities of creature you control cost X less to activate, where X is Agatha of the Vile Cauldron's power. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. And then for 4 red-green, other creatures you control get +1/+1 in trample and haste until end of turn. My first note on this is I don't know if it's good. It's one of these cards that I think has the potential at some point to be insane. As soon as something busted like activated ability in green-red gets printed that allows this to go off. But right now, I tried to make it for set release and I was just kind of whelmed by it. Also notable, she reduces the cost of her own activated ability too. So she's effectively 3 red-green for her ability at worst. And then I also said that it kind of is trying to do a lot because you need to increase her power and have the creatures to do activated abilities with.
Yeah. So, man, she's one of those cards where there's a couple of new cards. So we may end up going a little bit deep and talking about 2 other cards here right now. Because she herself is not that powerful alone. This is a huge potential thing, right? You did mention in here, Magus of the Candelabra, which Magus of the Candelabra does actually give you something pretty interesting to do. There's other stuff to talk about with you have land creatures, which maybe you want to activate the abilities on the lands and reducing the cost there is something. But the particular card that caught a lot of attention is actually Tough Cookie.
We're not there on the list yet. Let me look at that one up.
Tough Cookie is a 2-mana 2/2 artifact creature food golem in green. On ETB, it makes a food, and you can spend 2 mana and a green to make target non-creature artifact you control into a 4/4 creature until end of turn. And it also has the food sacrifice ability. So the main thing about this is Agatha actually really likes Tough Cookie because when you find very high value artifacts with activated abilities like Basalt Monolith.
Jason, did y'all plan this? Are y'all giving me ideas?
No.
Okay.
Take your ideas and go where you want.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this now. Tough Cookie is not something I meant to talk about in the context of Agatha because also we have script here. Further on this, I literally only care about this as its relation to Samwise Gamgee decks or Gamgee decks. Because it's a food that enters the battlefield to make a food, and Sam makes you a food immediately, so that's a 3-mana regrowth that you can start looping if you can start copying his activated ability. That's just really cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the only context I cared about for this card, but it has more.
Jason, I have a problem when Jason mentions stuff because he makes it sound so appealing and he gets me on a spiritual level to where I just immediately want to start buy a thermometer, I can set it up, and start looking up decks while we're recording because he gives me so many ideas.
So, yeah, this was the only context I really cared about. But the other thing to talk about is, so there's a better card than Agatha, which is actually Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
It's her cauldron, not her.
Yeah.
Can we stick to the script, Jason?
No. Because we gotta go talk about this. This is cool. We've got the flow going, baby. We're justifying.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna read it. I got it. I'm gonna read
absolutely. Let's start with it. Has a novel on it.
Yeah. Okay. I think Jason said on the script it has a novel for sure. So it's a 2-mana legendary artifact called Agatha's Soul Cauldron. You may spend mana as though it were any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. Cool, neat, awesome. It goes on. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Well, how does it exile cards? I'll tell you. You tap it, and as to activate it, the resolution is exile target card from my graveyard. When a creature card is exiled this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control.
So long as only if a creature is exiled, and that's an important part of it as well.
And also, as exile is part of the resolution, not as the cost.
Yes. So, okay. So for 2 generic mana, we are getting Grave Hate, 1/1 counter support, and activated mana or mana fixing for activated abilities.
It does a little bit.
That's a lot of things it's doing. And like I don't want to just rehash because like pulling up Play to Win again. Tyler from Play to Win does a great dive into this. He's a big Kellan Bonder Prodigy player.
I was just about to... I haven't watched that episode. I was just about to say, Kellan, that just essentially makes your Basalt Monolith go easy infinite. You don't have to have the Prophet of Distortion or a Thrasios. You could just go straight with Kellan in this.
Yeah, and with Agatha, same thing.
Yeah.
Right, you can make her activated ability infinite.
Oh, just get infinite buff. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right, there's... I've seen some very dumb things happen with this card already, like Saffron Olive went infinite in Standard with a creature that taps for 3 mana and another creature that has an ability to untap itself for 2 mana.
That's hilarious.
One of the other applications I'm seeing is like very casually, Rada Grand Warlord is something I have played in my Nagila deck at one point, and I had a hard time utilizing that mana, and now all I have to do is attack with 5 warriors, and I have infinite combat steps.
Oh.
Just say Weatherlight Captain. You don't have to worry about Wooburg. You're just like, okay, 5 colorless mana.
But with Sisse, you have Gigantha, which, if you didn't know, at the time of recording, we're doing a giveaway, including serialized Gigantha. So we'll have links to that giveaway in the description.
Nice
plug.
It's already over. That one's already over at this point.
So there was, and I hope you joined. I hope you joined the giveaway.
I like where your head's at, man. I like where your head's at. You
plug
play in this game. You play in that game. Get that hustle.
Grind mindset. But no, okay, so yes, and also, I don't know how Gigantha, you really doesn't work with Gigantha. Gigantha doesn't work with this, but everything else does, right?
Kenrith. If you have infinite mana with Kenrith, you're just like, I do all the things.
Yep.
So my Basalt Monolith stonks are going up. I love this.
Yes.
Thank you, Agatha Soul Cauldron, my new favorite card.
Yeah, you just have to turn your Basalt Monolith into a creature in that context. But
you could also do it with Forsaken Mania. Any of the ways to make infinite colors.
I guess in the context of specifically Agatha the creature, you need to turn the Basalt Monolith into a creature, which is a little hard to do in green. There's only like 3 ways of doing that, if I recall correctly. And they're all, like, 2 of them have been printed in the last year. Yeah, and they're all on, like, kind of uncommons, but, it's cool. And then for Agatha's Soul Cauldron, though, we found so many applications of it, and that's just the mana ability. We're not even talking about the 1/1 counter, like being able to put a 1/1 counter on your thing at instant speed to give a creature an ability, or the ability to functionally steal activated abilities from your opponents after they use them.
This card's dumb.
I didn't realize it said A. Hey, that's dope.
Yeah, the floor of this card is very high, and the ceiling is... Can we get much higher? Yeah, again, I don't want to fully rehash their stuff. I highly recommend watching their set review, but they talk about, in the CEDH sphere of things, someone pops a Ranger Captain of Eos, and you go, okay, cool. In response, exile your Ranger Captain of Eos from the graveyard, put a counter on my thing, Ranger Captain you. You don't get to combo either. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now you can force them to try to combo with 2 Ranger Captain of Eos triggers on the stack.
Yucky.
Yeah,
That is disgusting.
So yeah, Agatha Soul Cauldron is just awesome.
Cool. All right, so we're gonna keep. Now that we've wandered away through the script, let's get back to where we were.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say a word: Asinine Antics. So this. I know the censors. All right, this is a 4-mana sorcery, 2 and a blue. You may cast it at those that have flash if you pay 2 more. So you can essentially pay 4 and 2 blue to cast it at instant speed. For each creature your opponents control, create a cursed roll token attached to that creature. So it's a aura enchantment attached to it. Correct? It's an aura. They are auras, these rolls. If you control another roll on it, you get rid of the old roll. So only one roll can be attached or enchanted on. And the enchanted creature is 1/1. So yeah,
Loses all its abilities, right?
No.
Oh.
No, this just makes it 1/1s.
Okay.
So
just
that might
power
change how you
toughness.
feel. Yeah, just affects power toughness. So it's kind of like a weird humility-ish effect, making your creatures your opponent's control 1/1.
Well,
so
humility also removes abilities. So.
Yeah, I said ish because the removing abilities is very impactful for humility. This. When I read this, I go between saying this is pretty good because I mean you can cast it. It's very flexible, having the ability to cast it. But the fact that it doesn't actually get rid of the abilities is the thing. We don't play Rout. Rout is a similar card. It's Rout is a 5-mana sorcery speed board wipe, but you can pay 2 more. We don't play Rout.
Yeah.
All right. I have failed to see Rout ever casted outside of a precon game. I'm iffy on this. I keep on reading this, and I keep on making me like it less because I think about it. If it doesn't get rid of if it got rid of abilities, I say cool, dope, awesome. This just makes it to where Gearston Star can really easily remove them.
Yes, I was going to say decks that have the ability to give -1/-1 or can do 1 damage pretty easily, like Gearston Starn or Toxrill. Those decks really take advantage of this. But the main benefit I see to this is to my people who hate Cyclonic Rift. Here is low sodium Cyclonic Rift.
There you go.
Yeah, it is one-sided, so that's what Rout didn't have. This is a one-sided thing.
Yes.
But also with the abundance of +1/+1 counter decks, and things that buff through anthems, I'm not sure how impactful that is. If I'm going with a creature deck, I usually am trying to buff up with anthems or +1/+1 counters.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing is it's pretty rare that we want creatures purely for their stats, right? We usually want them for carrying equipment and artifacts, or we want to have, as you mentioned, anthems on them, or the ability is the thing that we care about. Like, this does not shut off a stacks piece that's on a creature in play. That stacks piece is still operating. Or just your opponent's commander has a very powerful line of text on it. Cool, that line is still there.
So I think what we really need to think about with this card is Gigantosaurus good in your meta? Yes, play this card. No,
legit.
You can pass.
You got dinosaurs in the meta. This is pretty good against dinosaurs.
He sure is.
Dragons
too.
That Gishath ain't gonna be trampling over. If it's just a 1/1.
In heavy combat focused metas, I think this is great. But outside of as you go up in power, people are doing more things that rely on the creature's abilities, not necessarily just their butt.
Also, one of the things about this is you don't see people play some of the other effects that turn things into 1/1s until end of turn. This is a permanent effect that turns them into 1/1s, which is very nice. The other big thing on this is a really good combat trick.
Yeah, it is.
It's just, oh, cool. My opponent's this guy was swinging with big things that are really dangerous, and this person was blocking with things that weren't so dangerous. Cool. Let's make them all 1/1s.
I love
and
that.
Just get rid of that whole board.
I love that. Like, I love cards like Sudden Spoiling for that, because you can just blow people out during a combat step.
Yeah, it's just neat. All right, Cameron.
All right, I'm going. I'm gonna do Kellan the Fae-Blooded. Kellan the Fae-Blooded. I don't have it pulled up, but I'm gonna try to remember. It has an adventure side for 1 and a white. That it is. I don't know the name of it, but you tutor or essentially tutor an aura or an equipment to your hand.
Yep,
it's called Birthright Boon, and it's a sorcery technically.
And then,
whoa! I am just trying to be helpful.
Is he a human soldier?
Human
a fairy.
He's a fairy. Okay,
he's half fairy. Yeah, he's half fae.
And anyway, the other side, the creature side, is it has double strike, and then other creatures you control get +2/+0 for each
+1/+0
for each aura and or equipment attached to Kellan, and it's a base 2/2. As resident Boros equipment goober, I don't like this card. The design space for red-white equipment doesn't have to be so basic. Like, take a card like Akiri, Fearless Voyager. That one I think is a cooler red-white equipment, but this one kind of seems like it could just be the best, because you can literally tutor any equipment you want to your hand, and you don't ever have to worry about double strike, which is an important keyword in Voltron, in equipment. You don't have to play any equipment with double strike. Like, you literally just tutor a sword, and then you're just like, okay, double trigger.
Yep.
The play pattern seems super boring to me, and, like, I don't like this card. It's too bland.
So, counterpoint, it gives the anthem. It can tutor out Skull Clamp, and that anthem makes you want to play tokens. And so it is, to me, artifact tokens. And I like that mindset, because I don't usually see tokens being the things you usually get in with. It is you can get this Servo Typal. You could do this Thopter Typal. Yeah. That you get evasiveness with Thopters. And, I mean, we just had Thopter Typal with the Nupia and Alar from Aftermath. It's been 5 months-ish.
Yeah.
So I think there's some design space you can do here that's more interesting. But also, I just like this card, and it tutors out Skull Clamp. All right? I like tutors for Skull Clamp.
Yeah.
Come on.
So, I don't care for Kellan that much either, because I do find this extremely boring. Just because we always get Boros equipment. It's like every other set we get Boros equipment. And it's like, look, this is the new Boros equipment commander, and it's immediately forgotten because there's other ones that are just so much better. Kellan at least has a good niche in that you can make an equipment your secret commander.
This might be the best Sunforger deck, because you're guaranteed your Sunforger on turn, 3.
Exactly. If you want to play like casual Sunforger and you want to just guarantee that you have your Sunforger every game, here's how you do it.
Skull Clamp
as well. Right? And there's a lot more equipment you can actually work with than just those two.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to go like deep, and honestly, I just don't want to have to post a bunch of images. But there's a bunch of equipment.
That's why I was confused. You went on the tangent 3 cards deep. Like, I was like, you're making editing hard for yourself, my man.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
But I was going to talk about all of those cards anyway, so who cares?
Fair.
The thing is with Kellan, though, there's also the equipment that make tokens when you attack, and that's like the bread and butter. Like, we've never had a great commander for those equipment, and this is one of those ones I'm like, okay, you've got something I'm interested in.
So, y'all are talking about the really cool ways to build this. My counterpoint to those, like y'all pointing that out, is that most people, I don't think, are going to build it that way. I could be wrong. But I think a lot of people, it has double strike, and it tutors any equipment. So they're just going to go get their Blackblade Reforged and just be like,
Mr. Cameron, does it really matter how the people build it?
No.
It matters how you build it.
That is fair. Thank you. But,
so you want?
But, I don't know. It just seems very bland, and, like, yeah.
No, it's a fair point.
Well, you're bland, and your mother's filled of elderberries. No, I said the line wrong anyway.
No, well, who cares?
Your mother was a hamster.
And your father's filled of elderberries.
There you go. Jason, tell us.
All right, I want to talk about Hylda.
Yeah, you do.
Hylda, the Icy Crown. All right,
calm down a little bit.
She's a 4-mana 3/4 in Azorius, so blue and white. Honestly, can't remember if she's a warlock or a wizard, but it doesn't really matter to me.
She's a
warlock.
Cool.
Am I the only one bringing up the card images on my other screen?
No, I'm just remembering this, baby.
Here I am, the actual one prepared this time.
Don't care. So, what she does is that whenever you tap down an opponent's creature, you can pay 1 mana and pick from 3 abilities. You can either make a 4/4 golem, which is awesome.
No, not golem, not golem. A white and blue elemental creature token.
Okay, cool, whatever.
Thanks, nerd.
Hey, it matters because there's golem typal cards, okay? It does matter.
All right, sure, whatever.
Thanks, nerd.
You can put a 1/1 counter on all of your creatures. I think I also get like Vigilance or something, but who cares? And then the other thing is you can scry 2, draw a card.
Yes. There is no mention of Vigilance on this card.
Excellent. So, here's the thing. I'm on a control kick right now, and I really just like finding good control commanders. And more importantly, God, I love opposition.
Opposition.
Opposition is a 4-mana enchantment where you can tap a creature you control to tap a creature, to tap another target creature, land, or artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, not enchantments, which is fine. That's an older card from, like, I think it's Urza's Saga on that one.
I'm not looking that one up. You can figure that one out.
And honestly, you have no idea how unreasonably happy it makes me that Opposition just has a commander now. Because like I have been looking for Opposition decks. Like legitimately, you might find a couple of the decks I've played on the channel. Like I tried it in a blue-green creature shell where like you got a bunch of mana dorks that you can eventually just turn into tapping down your opponent's stuff to find openings for combat. I tried it in a Grixis Shitters deck. Where like your small creatures are going to lose a lot of value very quickly, and you need your big creatures to actually get in for damage. So I'm just glad Opposition has a home. Hylda, thank you for enabling Opposition.
Yeah, as the person who played thank you, Alcus, for that Elsa list you gave us. As the person who played it, Opposition, go burr. Effectively, you can tap your golem, tap down a creature, pay 1. You just make as much mana as you have. You make that many golems.
Elementals. They are elementals.
Golems. So
no.
When you take these golems, and I think I drew snowmen on the channel. Then when you take these snowmen,
okay, I'll give you that. I will give you that. That's better. It's just made of the elements.
I think I wrote that like, yeah, you can play this as blue, white, dirtle, control, draw cards, and then you just tap everything down. Then you're like, okay, I'm gonna start putting counters and everything, and Alpha Strike. You're all dead.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you play Afara as well?
Don't worry about it. That's how I play. That's just how I be.
Oh, Mr. Kura player? Yeah, you totally dirtle and blue-white with the mono-green deck.
Yeah, I do. Why do you say? What's it? I don't. What are you talking about? I don't hit. What?
Nothing. Nothing. Anyway. Okay, cool. Hey, moving on. What we got next?
Oh, is it me?
I think it's you, Cameron. You.
Who wants to hear
I'm
about?
pointing at the screen.
Who wants to hear about the Goose Mother?
I don't.
All right, so fuck you. The Goose Mother is
You wish.
X blue-green for a legendary goose that whenever...
is a bird hydra. Y'all need to read the damn card.
So...
bird hydra.
It doesn't matter. It's a base 2/2. It enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. And then when it enters the battlefield, create X food tokens, which is rounded down. Half of X rounded down. So if you do it for 4 and 2 green, you make 2 food tokens. And when it attacks, you can draw a card. Sack a food, draw a card. So I have to convince people on this card.
Convince me.
Correct.
At first glance, I do not like this card. I think of it as a bad hydra.
Let me embrace you in the mother's wings. So what you do is you don't play this card until the very end of the game, unless you have Academy Manufacturer. Then it's just
excellent.
But
thank you.
But
I was about to give you shit.
If you cast it for a big, then you can do things like Rise and Shine and Cyberdrive Awakener and Kappa Cannoneer. This is not a food deck. It is a blue-green artifact deck. Junkwinder, Urza, Lord... I'm sorry, Jason. I'll quit naming cards.
Yes, thank you.
I caught myself. But blue-green artifacts or token creators. I am going to name one more. I'm sorry. Essex Fractal Bloom. But
okay,
there are some really cool things you can do with this, and people are looking at it too much just at its face value, which I think is more just like incidental. Like, sure, you can get in and draw a card, but there are a lot of cool cards that go super well with this.
I'm thinking of a card right now. Sereth Steelseeker or Sereth
Steelseeker. Yep. I've been a big kick on recommending Sereth Steelseeker.
Okay. That's insane. Yeah, I've been trying to find a deck for this. Yep. It is a 2-drop, 1/2 Human Artificer Scout. Whenever artifact ETB is under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, reveal it, put it in your hand. If you don't, you may put it in your graveyard. Mm-hmm. And so you can essentially get if you do like a big on the goose, you could look at the top 12 times. So essentially you can kind of scry-ish 12 times in that case. That seems dope. If you're doing other artifact stuff in your deck Cameron, I think you've actually convinced me somehow. I'm proud of you.
Can I name one more card?
Sure, I'm not done editing it.
This is a good Shimmer Dragon deck.
Yeah!
Alright, fine, I'll put that one on screen.
It's like what I was trying to do with that old Togoshima. That's not a card name, but that old deck I played on the channel. If you want to go look at some of our older content, I played it once or twice with the artifact rock tokens, trying to tap those. It kind of seems it can do that more consistently because you're in green.
I am now going to build this. I low-key want to bring this to Vegas now. I just want to embrace people into Mother Goose.
Okay, do it. Impress me. Make me like it. And I'll steal your... I'll do the Kellan thing and steal your deck.
I actually really do want somebody to do something with this card because I don't think it's a very good commander, but I think that I might be wrong about that, and I need some data for Zero Scale.
I'll prove you wrong.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, Cameron, we'll talk later. I got ideas. I don't want to make Jason's life harder on editing.
I'm going to name a card. We'll Black Lotus. You're going to have to put that on screen now. Haha.
No,
I don't. My mind's just naming cards. But we'll move on. Hey, Jason, what's another card you want to talk about in this set?
Okay, we're gonna take a long minute to talk about this one. Let's talk about Talion the Kindly Lord. So, Talion the Kindly Lord is a 4-mana Dimir fairy, very noble. That is a 3/4, has flying. As it enters the battlefield, choose a number between 1 and 10. Whenever your opponent casts a spell that has either that mana value, power, or toughness of the number that you chose, they lose 2 life, you draw a card. Alright, this card is objectively powerful. This is probably the most powerful commander in this set. I don't think that's... There's some pretty good contenders, but honestly, this is really good. It's just
on
so
raw
powerful.
Power level, considering metas, this in some metas is amazing. This is just strong. It's also in great colors.
Yeah, in CEDH, like you name 2 more times than not. That hits pretty much everything that you care about because of randomly the mana value, the power, or the toughness on like every creature has 2 in it.
Yep, because everything's so low to the ground.
Right. And you get a lot of instants and sorceries caught up in that as well. Honestly, but that's not what I want to talk about, Talion. I actually want to take a moment to talk about all of the fairies commanders. So, Talion, Obira, Alayla, and Tegwyl. Honestly, these commanders are pretty disappointing to me. Not that they aren't good, especially Talion, as I just mentioned. They're probably the most powerful one in the set. But they failed to deliver on what I wanted out of a fairies commander. So, fairies are a unique creature strategy in that they play a controlling game at instant speed. That is very unique for a typal deck.
Yes.
You don't really want to go super wide. You want to build up your board, and you kind of don't want to do a lot of lord effects or anything like that. You want to just use the abilities on the creatures to disrupt your opponents to find that tempo that you need. So, what I wanted out of the new commanders was a flash flying commander that disrupts my opponent and or rewards me for trying to play normal fairy mechanics, like discard effects or counter spells. Or
so, may I bring up a point?
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted Nimrus.
I wanted a bit more of something
right,
like Nimrus.
You wanted Nimrus, but different.
You wanted Nimrus, but with Spellstutter Sprite's ability.
Something, even just like a bounce ability would have been good.
Mm-hmm.
So, of all 4 of those commanders, only Obira has Flash.
It's strange.
And the reward for playing fairies is my opponents lose 1 life, which really wants me to go down a Cloud of Fairies combo route as opposed to the kind of normal control route. It wants me to finish with a combo as opposed to beating my opponents with the creatures. Not great. Alayla disrupts, and I like that. She doesn't have Flash, which I don't like. And the reward she does also have a reward for playing at instant speed, but again, she doesn't have the Flash to let you hold up spells and then do something.
And Goad as a disrupt is kind of like, on the totem pole of disrupt is kind of about the bottom.
Yeah, it's a pretty low level of disrupting. It is flavorful for fairies, though, so I'll give them that. Talion isn't really a fairies commander. They're just a really powerful Dimir control commander.
Yes.
It happens to be a fairy. Okay. Tegwyl is close to being my favorite of them, which honestly, they're all just kind of disappointing enough that I don't really have a favorite of them. Because, Tegwyl's a 3-mana lord, which is something fairies are lacking, but it doesn't have Flash, and it wants you to play an aristocrat strategy, which is something fairies are not good at.
That's super strange, because that it seems like it's more just board wipe insurance, as opposed to fairies that generally with fairies you're not going wide. You're in the air,
and you don't build up your board quickly. When you talk about one of the best token producers in fairies being Bitter Blossom,
that's insanely slow.
Yeah, it's really slow. So, it's still a great card, but it's very, very slow. So, like, it feels like the fairies commanders did not build on the core competencies of fairies. And that's the problem. They expanded too much into new territory without actually filling out the core competency enough. Because the other fairies commanders in Nimrus and... Like, I think Nimrus is fine, but Nimrus also is a little bit awkward because of just how it plays. Yeah, they're 5 mana, right? So
5 or 6.
Yeah. Got a big butt. That's cool.
But they have flash too, which helps.
They do have flash, which is the nice thing about Nimrus. But I'm also like, if my excuse to make a commander good is I can play Jeweled Lotus, that doesn't mean it's a good commander for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes me feel pretty disappointed.
I can see your frustration. Especially with it being one of the, like, they haven't gotten much support. Like, Nimrus wasn't even, like, fairy or typal support. It was, I think it was a Commander Masters card. So it was, like...
Yeah, Commander Legends, I think.
One of the Masters, like...
Yeah.
Supplemental sets.
Yeah, I think it was original Commander Legends.
Yes. So, like, with them, there is a fairy typal precon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you get Tegwil and Alayla.
Okay. Yeah, that is kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel, Ethan?
I don't have anything to add. Y'all just essentially wrote the essay on it, and I would have studied the essay. So, I mean, we didn't really talk too much on Talion. Is my only thing in that entire thing. Talion is just good.
There's not much to say about Talion. They're just kind of
in a casual environment. It's you can have some fun with choosing the number a little bit more. It's kind of very similar to Sanctum Prelate in a sense because the number, and you kind of have to play around with that number.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Why did they limit it to 10? What if I wanted to name... somebody might play their Scion of Draco. Like, I might need a name... Or just Draco. I might need to name 20.
Yeah, I don't know. There may be a reason why... you also can't choose 0, that's the number that's the weirdest for me.
I think that one could also be consideration for, like... There are so many 0 drops that, like, you could get some pretty good value on, especially in the CDH sphere. Like, if you're able to turn 1 this somehow, and then everyone just... Bleh. But as far as the creature power toughness, I guess that a creature can't have toughness 0. So
yeah,
it's still power and mana value 0.
Yeah,
there is. I think there is one creature that has
Master of Waves has toughness 0 technically.
There's plenty of ones that enter with counters that could do that.
Oh, there's the one that's like a 3 mana 8/0 from like Future Sight.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It is hilarious. It was
big ol' elemental.
Yeah, you do have to be careful with Talion. Is my only thing because if you are if you're like, 0 cards in the library, someone can draw you out, which is hilarious and the best way to go out. But you can technically get milled out in a sense if people want to cast their cards into your Talion.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Yeah, this is from the CDH perspective. If you're playing Thassa's Oracle, right?
Yeah,
that they can kill you with your Thassa's Oracle on the stack, which is an interesting way. You have to be a little bit careful about that with Talion, but still probably one of the most powerful commanders in this. At least it's top 2, I would say.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, easy.
All right, Ethan, you got one for me?
I gotta skip down our set list a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Y'all like Craterhoof Behemoth? What if you had that in white? Moonshaker Cavalry. I'm glad I skipped ahead and got some other cards pulled up. Is a flying spirit knight for 5 and 3 white, 6/6. Whenever ETBs, creatures you control gain flying and get +X/+X till end of turn. Rex the number of creatures you control. So Adeline loves this card. Any white go wide strategy?
Yep.
Loves this card.
Craterhoof has always felt like a white ability, like the ability of +X/+X for X is the number of creatures you control. So it feels fitting they finally get one. And it can also be argued that this is better than Craterhoof because flying or trample, which do you think would be better? Like I think flying maybe because trample there can still be enough butts on the ground to be able to like.
If a deck, my thing is if you're trying to finish the game, but someone's playing a deck that can put out a bunch of flying tokens, like for example, Locust God can put out a lot of tokens really easily. This Moonshaker Cavalry won't get through, but generally a trample can usually get there. because you can only block one thing at a time. If you get up the board, it doesn't really care about how much toughness you have. It's just how many blockers. It depends on the meta, and that's where I'm going to leave that. Really, it just depends on the situation. I'm not going to say one's better than the other because some days you'll get got by there's enough toughness on the ground, and sometimes you get got by they have enough flying blockers just to chomp and not worry about it. Yeah.
I'll also add that while I don't think this is a strictly better situation, as you mentioned, I will say that I do actually think Craterhoof is better.
Yeah.
Just being green is that much more relevant.
It's so much easier to get out.
Yeah.
So much easier to get out.
Like it's much easier for you to get a big 8-drop creature into play in green than it is in white.
Green.
Right. And anytime I'm thinking about Moonshaker Cavalry, I am thinking about it in the context of green-white.
Yeah. So you guys are getting...
Bam's Blink.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I can think of some mono-white decks that would want this, but like, I don't know if Boros would play this depending on the deck.
Probably not,
because it's just so high mana value.
Too much mana.
If you're going that high mana value, you're playing some big angels. Like...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if I'm looking at the top end of, like, in red-white as well, I honestly somewhat prefer Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight.
Yeah.
But that's honestly, the main reason I prefer that is because it's not 5 mana. It's 7 mana as opposed to 8 mana, and that 1 mana really does make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see this as a backup Craterhoof in green-white, and I can see this as just a mono-white finisher in some decks. But overall, I don't think it's going to have the impact that people are expecting it to off the bat.
It will absolutely kill some people. Like, I'm expecting to die to it many times, but it's...
Same.
I think for every time I get killed by a Moonshaker Cavalry, I'm probably going to get killed by Craterhoof 10 more times.
Fair enough.
I will say the art is sick, though. That is, looking at the details.
Oh, yeah, that's real good art. I like that.
Be good art.
All right. I want another one.
Go for it.
All right, let's talk about Beseech the Mirror.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming.
All right, Beseech the Mirror. This card is cracked. It is absolutely cracked. Let's explain why. So this is a 1 black for a sorcery with bargain. So you can sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast a spell for an additional effect. What this card does is it tutors something from your deck into exile face down. If you bargain the spell and you tutor for something that is 4 mana value or less, you may cast that card. Otherwise, you put it in your hand. So, this is a 4 mana tutor. We love those, right? We play those in Commander all the time.
Absolutely. Diabolic Tutor is a staple.
I've cast my fair share of Diabolic Tutor in my day.
Mm-hmm. 4 mana for a tutor is not that great, though.
No.
So,
bad rate.
No,
it's a really bad rate for it. But, here is the thing. This is good in Commander because it's going to get you things like the One Ring and just immediately put it into play, and it gives you the cast effect from it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
gross.
That's quite good. The main thing, though, is I'm here for Legacy. This shit is insane in Legacy. And Vintage.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Did you have you not been keeping up with Legacy at all, Cameron? You still have you still have a Legacy deck. You should know this.
All right. Let's talk about it. All right.
Yeah. Hit me with
so,
it.
I got this infographic from @JaxMTG on Twitter, or X, but it's Twitter. I will dead name the shit out of that.
Yeah.
The only time that's acceptable.
And this explains multiple turn 1 killed lines in Legacy. And you don't need that much. It's going to sound like a lot, but for Storm decks, this is not that much. No. All right. So you need a land, 2 mana accelerants, with Dark Ritual being your best of them, and a 0 mana artifact to sacrifice to your spell here, right? So this is a 5-card hand, but there's multiple variants on how to make this happen. So if you have a hand of Swamp, Dark Ritual, Mishra's Bauble, and Beseech the Mirror, play Swamp, Ritual. You are now up to 5 mana, right? Play your artifact, bargain that away. We're at Storm 4 here. We're going to go cast Gaia's Will. Gaia's Will is going to let us cast all of these spells from our graveyard again. So we're going to cast Dark Ritual for the 1 mana that's floating. Dark Ritual again. 2 more Storm. Cast our Bauble. Then we're going to cast our Beseech the Mirror from the graveyard again. And then we're going to grab Tendrils of Agony for a perfect 10 Storm on turn 1.
So you're saying I need to play Gain lands in Legacy now?
I was going to say, are we playing Radiant Fountain in Legacy now? Is Radiant Fountain where we're at?
No, that's not where we're at, but that's a funny one.
I love how Cameron and I had that same thought at the same time.
I would like to talk about it in the EDH context.
Absolutely.
It is sometimes better than Demonic Tutor, which is crazy to say. Because if you get a 3 or a 4 mana card, you are saving 1 or 2 mana, respectively, off of the Demonic Tutor to your hand and casting it. So, what did I say? And sacrificing a token or an artifact in EDH, that is such a low opportunity cost. Like, depending upon when you cast this in the game, you could have gotten, like, Generous Gifted or something, or you have a random Arcane Signet or any mana artifact that you're just like, okay, bye, I'm going to go get Dockside.
And this is another, as mentioned in the Legacy combo line, Gaia's Will. That is a 0 mana sorcery that typically can only be cast through suspend cost. There's multiple of these spells that you can play with. For example, like Profane Tutor, if you just need to find another tutor, but that'd be dumb to spend a tutor on a tutor.
Tutoring a tutor. Yeah. Tutor chain.
Although going back to the Legacy side of things, one of the funny things is if you have multiple artifacts to sacrifice, you can Beseech the Mirror for more copies of Beseech the Mirror to generate free Storm.
It's like the old Infernal Tutor for Infernal Tutor lines.
Yeah, just to build more
ants.
Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're using Empty the Warrens as part of your win con, well, that also provides you more goblins for you to spend on your future Beseech the Mirrors if you don't think you can win through a single Storm chain.
That's dumb.
I'll be honest here. What's messing me up right now is every time I hear Beseech the in a Magic context, I keep on my brain's auto defaulting to Beseech the Queen.
Yes.
Every time. I keep on like finish it out in my head. It's like, nope, there's another one.
Beseech the Mirror.
It is also a mono black tutor. It's really throwing me off.
Me and the homies out
Which also
here.
has triple black casting
Triple black.
costs.
Yeah.
Me and the homies out here be beseeching.
And this is in the set where we have fairies again? Interesting.
I beseech thee for a bequeathment of the end of my suffering.
So, yeah, this is just a super neat card overall. I'm curious to see how good it will actually be in EDH, like casual EDH. I don't actually think it's going to be that good. CEDH has some implications. Yeah, getting the One Ring.
That's also CEDH implications. It gets the One Ring.
Yeah.
This card tutors out the One Ring. Do I need to say
You could also
more?
go get like a Rhystic Study or Smothering Tithe or something. Like if you're just value.
Just get the One Ring. It's the One Ring.
I'd still argue
Like,
Rhystic Study
I hate
could
saying
be better.
Debatably, but honestly,
Similar power levels.
if it costs the same, if I had a choice at this point in my life, the One Ring's a drug, and I'm addicted.
Yeah, One Ring's real good.
One Ring damn good,
Win
man.
ban.
Yeah.
Quick, I just got mine last week. Oh, please. Help. Cameron and I just got ours the other day.
Yeah, this thing's fun. I'm generally not a huge fan of super fast combo strategies, but this is just some sick stuff that you get to do. I will get tired of it later.
We'll check back in a month. How's that?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. All
right.
Who's
next?
I'll go.
Woo!
All right. I'm going to talk about a reanimation spell called... I lost it. Lich-Knights Conquest. We can go over this real quick. It's 4 and a black for a sorcery with sack any number of artifacts, enchantments, and/or tokens, and return that many creature cards from your graveyard to your battlefield. Hell yeah. I love me some mass reanimation. I'm on my Golgari bullshit. I'm on my Abzan bullshit. I'm here for it. I also brought up that it's an interesting way to mass sacrifice artifacts, but also mainly enchantments, because I don't know if there's any mass way to sacrifice enchantments for the new, is it Anakthea, that cares about enchantments going to the yard?
That's one, but I would think more about Narcy, who specifically benefits from sacrificing enchantments.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought like that would be a cool way. It's a cool outlet for that, because we haven't seen sacrifice any number of enchantments on many Magic cards.
Mm-hmm. This gives me vibes similar to Reprocess from back in the day, talking about old Urza Saga.
Yeah.
But attacking the enchantments makes them more interesting. And also the effect of just reanimating mass things compared to just drawing a card for each permanent sacked is interesting. This does not let you sack lands, though.
No.
Or technically creatures.
It has to be tokens. So you can't sack the creature and get it back. But I still really like this card. Even at 5 mana, sacrifice 2 mana artifacts, get 2 fatties back. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd play that. That sounds decent.
Like this card isn't like life changing, but I thought it was a cool reanimation spell that they printed.
Yeah, I think it's neat. I had previously disregarded it. I may need to take a second look at it.
I have a quick question. This relates back to Asinine Antics from earlier. So whenever you put the Wicked roll on your opponent's creatures, is you or the it's not a curse.
Curse roll, isn't it?
Is it a curse roll? I thought it was
it's a curse roll. Wicked roll is a different roll.
Anyway,
are you the controller of that, like a curse?
Yes.
Okay.
You control that.
So,
you control that roll.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure
that it works well in limited for all the bargain stuff. You can put curse rolls on your opponent's stuff and then bargain it away.
Yeah.
See how much you know about limited?
If
it ain't cube, I don't want it.
Hey, it's fun. We can enjoy it.
Teach me to draft in Vegas.
I do want to draft.
This is a act like me actually saying, teach me to draft in Vegas.
Oh, absolutely. All right, we'll jam some drafts.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Let's go. All right.
Dope. Moving on. All
right, I want to talk about Yenna Redtooth Regent.
Yay.
I'm going to actually pull this one up because I am going to forget this so much, because this is another one where I want to talk more about the effect, like the group of cards as opposed to a singular card. But, okay, so Yenna is 4 mana for a 4/4 Elf Noble, or Legendary Creature Elf Noble in Celestium. You can pay 2 mana, tap. Choose target creature you control that doesn't have the same name as another permanent you control. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. If the token is an aura, untap Yenna, and then scry 2, activate only as a sorcery. Overall, this is just kind of a neat effect. I think it's pretty cool. I'm a little disappointed that, you can't keep copying the same thing over and over, because, in our video, when Sam was doing that to Armadillo Cloak, I was sitting there going, get him! Go big! But he can't, so... that's a little unfortunate, but this still works great with Instill Energy, which is a way of untapping. The 3 blind mice just plays awesome.
That was impressive.
I told him to make sure that he played 3 blind mice in one of these. And I'm glad he did that and took that into this one. That's great. I don't have a whole lot I want to say on specifically Yenna, because I do want to talk about, again, a group of commanders and mechanics, which is green-white auras / Enchantress, with the commanders Yenna, Elevir of the Wild Court, and Gilwain Casting Director. I'm not going to read out those specific ones. Also, fuck the uncommon one, because it's terrible. But holy shit, did they do auras justice this set. Rolls are great for auras decks. Yes. Especially the ones that want to go wide, which, auras have been so caught into Voltron strategies, which is very risky, and it feels very bad to have your commander blown up after you've thrown 3 auras on it and you just lose all of your tempo.
Yes.
You get to keep your stuff in place. They also gave us some generic Enchantress support in this set. They gave us Elvish Archivist and Tanglespan Lookout, which both each draw cards if an aura, or if an enchantment enters the battlefield under control, although specifically Tanglespan Lookout only does it for auras. This is all very, very good. A lot of these cards are really, really sick, quite powerful. And honestly, I was really disappointed when I heard auras was going to be one of the precons, because I was just oh god.
Yeah, in our minds, auras are stinky, because it's at least with equipment, you can play the creature again and get your tempo back. Auras, they're just gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they've just completely blown away my expectations, to the point that Elevir is one of my favorite commanders from this set. Because, look, having a commander that slaps a roll onto other creatures you control that basically gives them a free all that glitters, that's real good.
That is really good. Oh, it's an ETB or an attack? Wow. Okay. Yeah, Elevir's really cool.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, so for the intro,
we
recorded. Hey, I'm getting there. I saw Elevir. Shut up. Let me actually speak. So, I wrote the script, and I gave it to Cameron to record, and I didn't know which commander Sam was playing. I just assumed it was the face precon commander, and then Cameron said the wrong thing. And
Cameron didn't say the wrong shit. I got this script. Ethan, we were at our meeting. Ethan said, "My voice hurt. Can you please do the intro today?" And I said, "Sure, Ethan. I would love to." And so I get the script and I read it off, and then everybody's clowning on me in our private management Discord. And now I'm just all right, I can't do anything. I
It's
try to
my
do nice
fault.
things.
They know that. They
Yeah,
know that's
they
my
don't care.
fault.
They're still gonna clown me. They don't care.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you did a successful hit. Good job, buddy.
I am so proud of me for just
Good job,
unintentionally complete.
Watch your back. I'll be trying to get you back.
I know you live in my walls. I get it. You don't have to keep knocking on them.
Well, you live in
at
mine.
night.
You said last week. Last week you said you lived in my walls. So in the last podcast you said you live in my walls.
Anyway, so moving on. Hey,
Yes.
so Cameron, is there another card you want to talk about?
No. Yeah, actually, I'm kidding. Yes, I do want to talk about it. I want to talk about Farsight Ritual just real fast. Fuck. I don't have it pulled up, but I'm going to try to remember it. It's
I got
2
you.
blue for an instant with bargain. And if you
Correct.
don't bargain it, you look at the top 4 of your library and pick 2, put them in your hand. And then if you do bargain it, look at the top 8 and pick 2 and put it in your hand. Am I right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Bottom library in the random order with the ones you
Sure,
didn't pick.
whatever. All this is like some decks play Drawn from Dreams, and this seems really comparable to that. And it might just be a better Drawn from Dreams, especially in like some like Kai card deck, like these Spellslinger Token Maker decks. I don't know, it just seemed like a nice little upgrade.
Okay.
We don't gotta spend too much time on it. I was like, good card's good.
No, that's reasonable. Ethan, you got one?
Let me move down the script. Up the Beanstalk. I didn't even just jump down. So let me go pull that up real quick before I read. Up the Beanstalk. This is a card from the new set. It is a 1 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever it enters the battlefield, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. Okay, cool. What's 5 or greater mana value? Force of Will.
Mm-hmm.
Need I say more? It's a good card. There's a lot of cards that if you just play big fatties and you want to draw cards off of it, it's 2 mana to cast. It's pretty cheap to get on the field pretty early, and then you just kind of get it cantrips itself. Yes. Like there's so little downside. If you're playing decks like Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty, a Karuga, the Macro Sage deck, I'm going to stop naming commanders. But if you care about casting big mana value spells, this just says, add draw card to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to pass that up, really.
So it's funny to me that this is probably maybe the first or second most impactful card in Legacy from the set.
Yes.
Seeing Legacy play?
I'd say second. Yes.
And what?
I just said Force of Will's a 5 mana
That's why
value
people
card.
are playing this in Legacy so they don't lose a card on Force of Will. They don't lose 2 cards.
So I don't want to list out a bunch of cards, but pitch elementals, for example, work with this. You have Force of Will, as was mentioned. There's a few other old cards that, like, there's variations of the shell currently, but the main one is a Bant Core, often splashing red, sometimes splashing black. If you pay X into a thing and you can overpay on the X for, say, like, a Prismatic Ending, that's real good.
Logic Knot draws you a card now. That's modern legal.
Yeah.
All right.
So Up the Beanstalk is actually one of the more interesting cards for its potential of being like a solid card advantage engine in control decks. It's a very odd one, but it's pretty good.
It does cool stuff, and I love the implications in Casual Commander. It can just really help get that little extra edge. When I was playing Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty, I noticed that, like, okay, I Cascade, and I'm left without a hand. This helps you keep finding consistently things to cast. And like, if you just play big stuff, Sea Monsters probably love this. A Sea Monsters deck would love this because all your stuff is very high mana value. Yeah. So just consistent card draw.
Good.
It's actually one of the things that has made me. Oh, there's actually a couple of other things, but realizing that as much as I hate to say, like, man, I wish there was a 5-color option for this deck because 5 color is the boring route to it. Giants is actually an archetype that would really benefit from a card like this and having a 5-color commander. So
Jason, what do you mean? Morathon exists.
Yeah, right. Like, that's what you get to work with. But yeah, just saying that would be an interesting way to take this as well with some of these typal decks that want very high-costed creatures.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're running a little bit low on time, and we have some reprints we want to talk about as well.
Yep.
So I'm going to quickly group a couple of cards. I don't want to talk about their specifics. I just want to talk about the adventure cards in the set, like Baluna Grand Squall, who we played on the channel for us, it came out yesterday. For you guys, it was a week ago. Baluna Grand Squall, just a good option for teamer adventures. And There's been a lot of good adventure cards that have been printed as well. I will die for Elusive Otter. You cannot stop me.
Very cute.
I will not stop you.
Thing is adorable.
I'll
I'm playing in EDH, but
I'll die with
Auto
you.
Squad. Auto Squad.
Yeah. And it just gives us a different option from Gorion, who was in Baldur's Gate. I think the adventures this time are a little bit better than what was there, and I think this is a good alternative to playing Bant adventures. Good stuff overall. Also, want to talk about Blossoming Tortoise, which has some very cool combo things that you can do with it. The important thing on it is Blossoming Tortoise cares specifically about land creatures, and we've actually gotten multiple new cards recently that care about land creatures specifically, like the 3-mana Tatiova from Dominaria United, and the 4-mana Joriel from March of the Machine, The Aftermath. They both care about land creatures specifically, and given how WotC does printing, they like to kind of provide a small amount of support and then provide a big amount of support later before a rotation would occur. They should still be with these sets on the 2-year design philosophy as opposed to the 3-year design philosophy, which comes next year because of the new standard rotation. But I would not be surprised if Lost Caverns of Ixalan has a land creature strategy.
Mm-hmm. And they just made a bunch of main lands with Wilds of Eldraine, right?
Exactly. And
Was
we'll
that a
probably
cycle
finish
5
out
or
that
cycle
cycle
10?
sooner than later. Cycle 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we might see that cycle finished up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, very interesting stuff there.
Yeah. Anybody else? Do you want to talk about another one? I see there's...
I gotta talk about Sir Ginger.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like, come on. It's cool. It's nothing crazy. It's a colorless commander. You can really do some fun stuff with like Mystic Forge, kind of get to cycle through your deck a little bit. You can play like a colorless edge strategy. Well, okay. Well, we jumped around a
You
little
have to
bit,
guess,
so let me
Ethan.
go ahead. No, okay. Every time I guess, I always get it wrong. You guys make fun of me. All right, it's a 2-mana 3/1 legendary artifact creature, Food Knight. It has trample, hexproof, and haste as long as the opponent controls a planeswalker. So if someone's playing Atraxa, you're gonna absolutely crush them. Whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, play a +1/+1 counter on Sir Ginger and scry 1. And then you can do the food thing of pay 2, tap a sack it to gain life equal to its power. Actually, scry 1 on the card lets you cycle through your deck a little bit. So Mystic Forge, kind of do some egg stuff. It's kind of cool, and then it has incremental life gain. It's also just a cheap commander. So one thing I forgot to mention on earlier when we talked about Agatha and this, 2 mana is very easy to cast. Those typically are more typically powerful commanders. I think this is a very aggressive, really costed colorless commander.
It's also offset by the fact it is colorless.
Yes.
Yes, but we saw with one of my favorite commanders that came out in the past year or so, Liberator versus Battlethopter was a 3 mana compared to a lot of the other colorless options. Start at 5, if not go to 13. Yep. That's legal. You know, there's a 15 one that we don't talk about because it's shunned to the back rooms. But a lot of them are expensive. And so seeing this lowering of the curve is really great. They've been doing a lot better about printing colorless commanders that are feasible to actually run. Is this great? Debatable. It's cool. I like it. It's a food. It looks angry. All right? It's cool.
Hey, you know what? That's another food creature for Samwise, so I'm happy.
Absolutely.
You are correct. It does get sacked to Samwise Gamey.
All right.
May I talk about one more?
Yeah, go
Is
for
it the one?
Okay.
Come on.
They power crept divination. Quick study.
No.
They power crept divination. What does the world come to?
Man, we really are
Instant
just the Play to Win
speed draw
podcast at
2
this
cards.
point.
Oh, did they do that? Fuck,
Yeah.
Hey, to be in my defense, I have not watched that episode yet. I said I'll watch it later.
God damn it. I don't want to rescind what I said.
Nope, it's the end of the episode. You done did it.
I rescind my bit. I will take it back now.
Nope.
Everybody take back your laughs.
No, I refuse. Nope, I refuse. You live with the consequences of your actions.
No.
All right.
I don't have empathy, so I don't feel consequences.
I'm just.
Okay,
We're gonna move on.
Yeah, we're moving on here. Let's talk about the enchantment reprints, right? This is another set with a bonus sheet, like how in Brothers War they had the artifacts. This one has enchantments.
My favorite part of the set. I'm not gonna lie. By far, I would not have cared as much about the set if it didn't come for these enchantments. They have some really awesome reprints very playable cards. May I list off a few, Jason, to support my point?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Cards are good for Commander. Doubling Season got another reprint. Awesome.
Still
With some
$40.
really dope art. Yes, it is, but it is what it is. Parallel Lives and Primal Vigor also got those reprints. So if you're like, those are always pretty expensive because tokens is a very popular strategy. Those are awesome. Rhystic Study got a reprint as well, which is awesome. The art on there is great. Smothering Tithe got a reprint. Necropotence. There's a lot. And then, if you're a weeb like half the Smooth Brain crew, they have anime art. All right? They have some of them, a little much. I'm not a big fan of the Smothering Tithe anime art. I don't get it. It's not for me.
What,
But
you're
that
not a big fan of Ojo-sama?
No, I'm not. But some of these are dope. Like the Necropotence. I'm just going down the Scryfall right now. The Parallel Lives is awesome. That land tax art, come on.
Okay, stop making me put cards on screen.
You said I asked permission. I asked.
You said a few. A few.
A few is relative. It is relative, good sir.
Yeah. Also, just some of the points that were made on this. Like, some of them are really cheap right now. Like,
Yeah.
Like, look, not a huge card, but Blind Obedience is like 90 cents.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Impact Trimmers has never really been a very highly costed card, but you get the foil of the alternate art for like 50 cents right now.
Are the anime
And it looks beautiful.
They show up as some percentage of, like, they show up in normal packs as well. But
yeah.
it's like I think it's like 1 in 6 replacement rate or something like that. I'm probably wrong in pulling that number out of my ass, so don't trust me.
Yeah, but you can play this in draft. One, I will say, like, it's not a really impressive card, but like for the draft environment, Hatching Plans is awesome for a bargain deck because that is just free bargain and you essentially draw 3. That is, I love the intentionality behind that for the draft environment. I saw that and I was really impressed by just like, they're doing this bonus sheet and it's applicable for draft and they snuck that in. I like that. But there's just some really good reprints in here. Like, just some really good playable things that were very expensive. Only one I wish they had put in here that they didn't was Exquisite Blood. Because that one, they always print the other part of that combo. Yeah. But they never print the actually expensive one. And I don't know why they keep on holding off on that one.
Good question.
That's like the only one I'm like, I can think of on this list. Like, oh yeah, I wish they put that. Past that, all of these are just typically important playable cards and will help the supply and also have really cool arts to help, make your decks more unique and, flesh them out with different looking stuff. It's dope. I'm a big fan of this.
Cameron, anything?
No, I they're always good reprints. I haven't really kept up with all the ones that have been that were reprinted. Right now I'm just looking at the anime arts and oh my god, the Smothering Tide one is just like
it is.
Yeah.
Ojo-sama.
It's not for me.
As Foretold is very cute.
That one looks weird to me, honestly. It's cute, but it looks weird to me.
But there's just so many cool ones. Also, Cameron, you have to get the anime of the one that has the goose on it.
Doubling Season.
Fine. Make Jason edit more.
I hate you all.
Good. Join the club. I hate me too. Anyway.
Nah, fuck it. Hey, Cameron, you're editing this one. You can't see his face, but it's good right now.
Yeah. There's just a lot of cool stuff in this bonus sheet. I'm very I love seeing this. This is great. Yeah. I have no notes.
All right. Let's move on. Overall thoughts on the set.
Set is fine. Has some cool cards. I like the enchantment reprints. The flavor of the plane, Eldraine is always really cool, like super high fantasy, yada yada yada. But as far as like the whole set, we've had better, we've had worse. I'm kind of middling on it.
And I kind of love that fact. I'm not gonna lie. As us being content creators, it kind of is a little much to always have to say, oh yeah, all these cards are coming out, we have to play. Everyone's like, we have some cool stuff, we show what we showed, and we are good to move on to the next thing. It feels good to not have to worry about the wallet fatigue and just the magic fatigue of having to make all this content around it. It's great. I like the reprints. There's some cool stuff I want to brew around, but nothing that makes me have to stay awake at night stressed out. It's kind of great.
Yeah, I'll say as well, like, this is a middle of the road set for me. It's not a slam dunk. I actually think it's a slam dunk in terms of the reprints, as you mentioned with the bonus sheet. Like that is the slam dunk for sure. Without it, this would be a pretty middling set for me. Like not very impressive overall, but it is a solid set. You know, it's weird where there's very few individual cards that I actually want to talk about. It's more about talking about the niche archetypes to work with, like adventures and auras, right? Fairies and food were a little disappointing to me, and that's not a huge deal for food to be disappointing, but fairies is like, actually, like, I'm marking points off because of fairies not being where it needs to be, god damn it. And there's other great cards that we didn't talk about here. And so there's, you know, we didn't talk about the Virtue Cycle at all, and a lot of the Virtue cards are great for Commander, especially the blue one. But, and there's a lot of niche cards as well, so it's just few tickled my fancy, which is very uncommon. That's not uncommon for standard sets, but it's a little weird. So, you know, solid 7 for me.
I'm about the same. It's a good set. I don't think it's winning any awards, but it's not breaking the format like last Eldraine set. So at least they're doing in the right direction.
The bar was set fairly low. I'm like, don't the fuck up bar.
Don't print Oko.
The fuck up bar was like down here.
Okay, fair enough.
So, granted, if they're pushing food, it makes sense to print another card that does something similar to Oko, but not Broko.
Great pun.
Thank you.
Great pun.
I'll be here all week.
Wow.
I'll be here in Vegas all week.
Great.
Speaking of Vegas, hey, reminder, the day this releases, we are in Las Vegas for MagicCon. Check us out if you're going to be there. We'd love to hang out, play some games with y'all, see us around the convention center. I have some treasure tokens I'll probably be handing out with some new Smooth Brain treasure tokens. You can get an image on screen. Thank you, editor. Love you.
Find a way to get that picture of those things again.
I can take a photo right now and text it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jason doesn't have any yet. No.
Oh, you don't. That's right.
Yeah, I don't have any of them.
Mr. lives 10 hours away from the rest of us.
16, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. In the range of 10 or greater.
All right, but yeah, as Ethan has now said us on, thank you all very much for watching another episode of the Wrinkly Brain podcast. If you'd like to see edited gameplay videos, check out our main channel, SmoothBrainEDH. We upload every Saturday. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking. If you want to talk to us directly, you can join us on our Discord. It is open to everyone. And if you're interested in supporting us financially, feel free to check us out on Patreon. Thank you very much to all of our patrons. All those links are directly in the description or in the link tree. This has been Jason with Cameron and Ethan. Y'all have a great day.